Welcome to the Veronica Edwards Show, where we have fun, financial conversations that everyone listening can apply to their personal and professional life. I'm your host, Veronica Edwards, CPA, and we are back, season 6 in 2026, completely independent, sponsored by Balance Virtually LLC, my accounting and consulting business. And as always, at the start of the show, have to shout out the V team, all the supporters that have been with us since day one, way back before we came on YouTube. We actually are going to be hitting our 200th episode of all time. That's going to be coming up soon, but we're always looking for sponsors, guests, and as always, our loyal listeners. So please like and subscribe to the page. Head over to balancevirtually.com or veronicaedwards.buzzsprout.com so you can listen to all prior shows. So today I am super excited because we actually had to reschedule this guest. So I am super excited that this beautiful young lady was able to make some time for us. And this guest is a dynamic leader, a financial strategist, and the powerhouse behind Insure with Andie. She's a licensed life insurance professional serving multiple states and is passionate about helping families build protection, preserve legacy, and create generational wealth without the confusion, gimmicks, and gatekeeping that we are way too familiar about. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my South Carolina friend, Ms. Andrea Andie Jones. How are you, friend?
Hi, friend. Hi, Veronica. Thank you so much. I'm like, who is she talking about? Thank you.
I'm talking about you.
I'm definitely excited to be here. I've been following you. I see you're doing great things. So it's an honor
Thanks.
to be here. And this is a full circle moment. So it's just feeling like everything is aligned. And I love the work that you're doing. Just the everything that has I think we were talking earlier, just the vibe and just us being here together is definitely an honor. And I'm excited. So
Girl, I'm
thank
looking at you like we twins. The red glasses, pretty face,
course, you
got the
got
good
the red
voice.
glasses. I'm missing the red lipstick. I was running a little behind, so I was like, "Well, you know what? I'll let you shine with the red lipstick. That's your thing." But yeah, definitely, we got the red glasses
I
going.
love it. We're going to be fangirling out this whole show because I'm just so proud of Miss Jones, all the things that you're doing. We were just talking, gosh, it's probably been 6 years, 6 or 5 years since we've actually seen each other face to face, but we're going to get into that. But what I like to always do is start the show off, especially since this is your first time. Tell us about you, where you're from, and how did you get interested in entrepreneurship, specifically life insurance and wills and trust and things that a lot of us, especially Black and brown folks, we don't really want to talk
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. So I am originally from South Carolina, but a small town in South Carolina, Greer, South Carolina, to all my Greer people.
stand up.
Yes, stand up. And I've always had a heart for service and for education. But what pulled me into entrepreneurship, especially life insurance, wills, trust, taxes, and was honestly seeing how our families were simply struggling because they don't have the access to the right information. And that kind of was a point that was driven home for me when my father passed.
Mhm.
And then right after that, I was faced with, losing my job. So, of course, that kind of motivated me to kind of say, "Okay, well, maybe if I can put this much emphasis or this much work into a job, I can do this for myself." So, it's a journey. It's not easy, but it's definitely something that makes me feel like I can depend on more than just, what a company or corporation can provide. I can depend on myself as well.
Pause on that. Pause on that. You're talking that stuff, and I'm glad that you shared that with your dad. Anybody that is familiar with Brother Jones, rest in peace, dude was
Well,
sharp.
no, 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 McDaniel, Brother McDaniel.
McDaniel, sorry, Brother
Yeah,
McDaniel. When I tell you that dude was sharp coming up into Maranatha in Greenville, yes.
thank you so much. That's a fond memory that I hear all the time.
Yes, just very, I think sometimes people lose touch on just that style and that class when you come to church, and he always came in his best.
He did.
So does your mama too, though,
Yeah,
and also you and your beautiful daughter. So you mentioned that when your father passed away, how long ago was that?
that was in 2024, so we're approaching the 2-year anniversary next month and his birthday next month. Yes, even though it's been 2 years, it feels still very fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, May 29th to be exact.
Wow, my birthday's May 27th.
wow. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
which also makes me think of our very good friend Tawala Williams.
Yes.
Don't forget the second Williams,
Don't
rest
forget the
in
second
free
one.
yes, rest in peace, Mr. Brian Lonnie Mack
Money Mac.
Williams. Their wedding anniversary, May 20.
Yes. Yes, I was in that wedding. I remember that like it was yesterday. It's just and like I said, this is a full circle moment
It really is.
for sure, just to even think about his passing as well. So, yeah.
Yes, and that's kind of how we met back in Greenville. Andrea lives in Georgia. Nobody would know it, because you be in South Carolina so much. But
Yes.
you would come and visit, and it wasn't really from church. It was our relationship that we had with Miss Williams. And
Yes.
and that's also a situation with an unexpected death. And we're talking about, wills and life insurance. My father passed away a year to the day before Brian passed away.
Wow.
My dad didn't have a will. My sister passed away 2 years before that. She didn't have a will. We had life insurance. So it's really
Be
close to
close to
my
my
heart.
heart.
I know when I saw you posting about your father, I was so happy to see the business that you went into because I feel like that continues your dad's legacy as well.
Absolutely. And, I watch people work hard their entire lives and still face financial setbacks because no one ever taught them how to protect what they were building. And so, if I can help families understand these tools, not even become an expert, but just the foundational information without the jargon, without the fear, all the fancy financial, literacy words and gatekeeping, then I can help change the trajectory of generations to come. And that's what really pushed this work for me. I want to be the person I wish my own family had years ago. Um,
Yes, because I think our family did really good with a company. If you stayed with them for 25, 30 years, you get your life insurance, maybe a pension, maybe a 401k, and that's really it. But we know now these companies aren't loyal,
no,
and you could be with a company 25 years, get let go like you've experienced, and now you've lost that insurance that you were relying on the company for. And so quickly things happen, and we're like, okay, we're going to get to it.
yes, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people feel protected because they have a life insurance policy through their job. And if their job leaves or if they or for some reason get separated from their employment, that life insurance policy goes with them. And like you said, our families did I feel my father did a great job. My mother did a phenomenal
Absolutely.
job. But it just goes back to just not having the knowledge. They did the best that they could with what they had. And in full transparency moment, my father did not have what you would call a substantial life insurance policy. He was a Vietnam veteran. And so because of that, we got a lot of perks and benefits that helped with funeralizing him and
My
that
dad
sort of
was a
thing.
Vietnam vet also. Yep.
Yes. So that saved a lot on, costs associated with funerals. Or with his funeral specifically, but funerals in general, you're starting out at least 12,000.
I tell
And
people a poor man funeral all day. Yeah, it's over
yes,
$10,000. It's
yes,
crazy.
it is, and you don't think about that kind of stuff until you're faced with it, and then when you're
Huh?
faced with it, you're like, "Are you serious? You really have to pay for $12,000 to bury, your loved
Yeah.
one?" And, no disrespect to the funeral industry or funeral home business, but there's really no negotiating that. When you're at the table and they're telling you what's needed to be paid, it's either you pay or I don't know, like
Right,
the
and they're kinda preying on the emotions, like, "We wanna set dad off with this dove and this horse and carriage." It can become a whole production, friend, and I'm just like, "Cremate me. I'm
right.
good."
I told my mother that I said, I'm okay with that because I don't want my family to have to worry about that part of it. It's hard enough to
Right.
grieve,
Yes.
and to move forward. And I know you understand. It's hard enough to get through that part. So to have to worry about all of the bells and whistles, and I have already gone on to glory. Um,
Yes.
it's totally okay. I'm okay with the cremation part and providing a little bit of ease or taking off the load from my family. And that's what life insurance is. It's selfless. It's not selfish. It's selfless because you're thinking about those that you're leaving behind. If you take care of anyone, or if anyone takes care of you, you need to think of them in the event that you die, which we will do at some point in
But
time.
we just don't wanna think about it. I don't know why, and me and you both have only children. We don't wanna put that burden on them. Because when my
Right.
dad passed away, my sister had already passed, so it was a lot, but thank God my mom and dad already kinda prepaid for some things and kinda had stuff planned out. So let's jump into Insure with Andie. I love that name, by
Thank
the way,
you.
but
Thank
let's talk about specifically the services you provide. Who are your ideal clients? Who do you serve? Because people are listening all over. I know you're in Georgia, I'm in North Carolina, but I want you to talk about your license across all states and how you can support us.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Insure Andie is about protection, clarity, and empowerment. I'm currently licensed and I started in South Carolina. No, I'm sorry. I started in Georgia since I reside in
Mhm.
Georgia. I have family, of course, in South Carolina. And then I am licensed in North Carolina and Alabama. And, hey, we're still going. Um,
Yes.
Definitely, there's an interest in other states. I'm definitely willing to get licensed there to help anyone that's in need. I help individuals and families understand life insurance, legacy planning, and tax strategy in a way that feels simple and doable. My services include, of course, life insurance, will and trust education, tax preparation and strategy, financial literacy coaching. My ideal clients are people who are ready to take control of their financial future.
Come on.
Even if they don't know where to start, I feel like I'm always a student. I don't proclaim to be the know all be all, but I'm definitely one that can give you a start and we can, grow together for sure. Um, and make sure that you have that foundational knowledge. And, once you have that, everything else kind of falls into place. You start meeting people who will start feeding you more and more information to make sure that you're secure.
So let's bust some of these myths that people think like, "Oh, well, I don't have a lot of money. I don't own a lot of things. I don't need to worry about getting a will and a trust," or "When I'm dead, they can't collect anything from me." What do you say to people that say that or has that mindset?
Well, first, I want to say this: today's price is not yesterday's price.
Come on, Fat
And I
Joe, for those
know
that know. Come on, yes.
I know that that may sound cliche, but it is so true. You age every minute, every second, every hour of the day. You are getting older. We're getting older as time passes. And in the life insurance industry, that matters. That's first and foremost. So it's not something that you want to wait on. So let's just put that out there. If you're thinking about life insurance, you need to think about it now. The older you get, the more expensive your policy is and the more uninsurable you become. It's
Mm.
not I can wait. You may not be eligible, depending on what you have going on, depending on your health, depending on you may be in good health now, but you had a heart attack 10 years ago. That may make you uninsurable. So if you have a general amount of good health, you want to get a policy as soon as possible. Secondly, we spend money on, I know I'm guilty of it, brunches, Starbucks, we pay cell phone bills, that sort of thing. I have
Don't get us started on nails, hair.
nail hair. There's just so many miscellaneous
Mhm.
expenses that we intentionally place in our lives that aren't needed. Whereas with a life insurance policy, you can get a policy maybe, I've seen them as cheap as $20, $15 a month. And, the younger, of course, you are, the more you can afford. I specialize in term insurance, term life insurance.
Let's talk about that, friend. Let's break down the difference between term and whole life insurance. Am I saying that right?
Yes,
Not to
yes.
put you on the spot, but I know you know your stuff. Go ahead, tell me about it.
So with term life insurance, that is going to pay out for a specific time frame. So if you most term policies extend up to 35 years. So depending on your financial needs or your financial position as far as what you can afford, most term life insurance policies are what's going to be most affordable
That's
because
what I've heard.
yes, you're paying for a specific time frame. And then once that time frame expires, you can renew, but of course you'll be older, so that renewal rate won't be the same as yesterday's rate.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
for someone that's in their 40s, 35 years, who knows, the average lifespan is seven. I know this sounds very dark, but it's true.
Yeah, no.
The average lifespan is about 78. So
That's
with
actually longer than I thought.
right. And so with that, with the term, kind of think about it, weigh your options in 35 years from now for me is beyond that. So
Mhm,
I
mhm.
that if I have something in place, because you never know,
You never
anything is
know.
better than nothing.
Yes.
With whole life, that is a policy that will last your entire life, as long as you keep it active. Of course, some of the whole life policies have living benefits where you can get money out of the policy while you're living. And
Mm.
they are more expensive because you can get more. There's of course, my grandmother always say, "You get what you pay for."
Yes.
So, it's not just a specific period or a specific term throughout the course of your life, and it's gonna be more expensive. So that's why, you can say, "Hey, if you can afford a more expensive policy and you feel
Mhm.
that you may need to borrow from your policy while you're living, then,
Right.
whole life may be the route for you." If you're looking to just have something put in place today and you're like, well, 35 years from now, I think, who knows, I may be here, I may not. You can still opt for a term policy, and that's going to be more affordable, and that rate doesn't change. An IUL, sorry, an IUL policy is a life insurance policy that has, to kind of have it in a layman's terms type of way. An IUL focuses more like on the stock market,
I
that
was
sort of
gonna say, I
thing.
never heard of that one,
Yes.
IUL. Okay.
So, depending on how well the stock market is doing and investments and stuff like that will determine the face amount of your policy. The rate could
Hmm.
go up or down, the interest rate, that sort of thing. So, if you're into stocks, investments, the index and stuff like that, an IUL may be a great option for you. And then it's a little more complicated though
I was
than
gonna say,
yeah,
yeah,
the whole life or term, and then a final expense policy is just what that is. It's just a policy that's to pay or cover your final expenses only. Most of those are on a lower end. They are maybe 15, $20,000. I don't think they go much over 25, maybe 30,000.
do you have to have a physical or anything to go along with that or not specifically?
You don't. Again, full transparency, I have one on my mom. She did not have to have an exam. Now, again, this was one of those situations where I could not get a term policy on her because of her age. So the
Right.
final expense is an option. If there is someone who is uninsurable, then they can opt to do a final expense policy, which will only cover your final expenses, your funeral costs, and that sort of thing. You can get a policy that will cover more than that and you can keep the difference, but that's what that policy is specifically for. And they can, of course, if you are waiting a while and getting a policy on an older person, then that
Right.
policy could be expensive.
Ooh, I'm so glad that you gave that little nugget because that leads right into like, what are the practical first steps if someone's listening to this and they said, you know what? I need to do something. I need to do something for myself. I need to do something for my family. When you're meeting with people, how do they pay you? Like they might feel like they can't afford you. What are the first steps when they have a consult with you?
They reach out to me, we talk about what type of coverage they're looking for, what their budget is. There's something for everyone. It may not be a large amount, but my conversation is to just get something in place, even if it's 20,000, a small policy, that's going to take a load off of your family. I see it
Sure.
so many times where our families, or and when I say our families, I mean our communities, our Black
Yes.
communities are offering, GoFundMe's or
Yeah, girl, if I see one more GoFund,
right. And I get it, right? You have to do what
sure.
you have to do when you have to do it. I get it. However, we don't have to do that.
We know we're gonna expire at some point, and not to be insensitive. We gotta plan for this.
Right. We have to be strategic and proactive in how we think about the future. And I don't want my daughter, on her these pins and needles trying to hope that she gets a big enough donation to bury me.
Right.
And then I don't want her living with the guilt if she doesn't come up with that. Just the thought of that
Yes.
breaks my heart. And so
Yeah.
if at minimum if all I could provide her is, enough to make sure that that can be taken care of, then that's my conversation and that's my call to action to those who are interested in life insurance or that just have questions, to just let them know that you don't have to start out with a huge policy. You can
Right.
start out with something small, you can increase later. You can have multiple policies. You don't have to just you can never have enough insurance in my opinion. So, you can start out with a smaller policy. You can go to a different insurance company and get a whole life. You can get an IUL, you can get a term, you can have all of those things. But if you want to start with something,
Yes.
anything is better than nothing.
And is insurance kind of like real estate where you kind of get paid on the back end? It's not like I'm going to meet with you and I got to write a check for $1,000 to get started, correct? Like I can work with you without having to put anything up front?
Correct. Yes. So how that would work, and of course, excuse me, it's allergy season.
Oh my gosh, my whole car is covered in pollen.
I don't even want to talk about my car.
You're in Georgia, so you've been like this since February.
Georgia Woods, the Georgia Woods. So, yes, it's a conversation that started. We do an application. We can do it virtually over the phone or in person. We go through a series of questions about your health, your life habits, those sort of things.
Which, guys, we need to be honest with our insurance person about these things. We're
We,
not
we,
judging.
no, definitely, we listen and we don't judge. So, with that, definitely, I mean, I've seen it all. Definitely, I've seen it all. So I'm in no position to judge. So with that, I'm really in a position to help. That's what I want to do. So no matter how bad your situation may be or you feel that it may be, there's always something or someone out there who has experienced worse or has done worse. So never feel ashamed or feel like, "Oh, I can't, disclose
'Cause
certain
that's the first
information."
step right there. Like,
Yes.
it's that shame, especially with me being a CPA. They're like, "Veronica, I'm kinda embarrassed to say this." I'm like, "We're not taught this stuff growing up.
Yes.
There's no shame."
Yes, yes, yes. I've had that same conversation, exact conversation, and they were like, "You saved my life." I was like, "Really?" But no. So yeah, and it's just we submit an application. It goes through an underwriting process, which is not a part that I'm a part of. I'm not a part of that process. And they do similar to like a soft credit check. They look and see like maybe prescriptions that you've had filled and that sort of thing that helps them to make the determination as far as your insurability, as far as if you should they charge you this rate or that rate. And no doesn't mean, or because it's pending, it doesn't mean no. It may mean that they just have to look a little bit deeper to see, what you may qualify for. It may be more expensive, it may be less expensive. I've seen it to where they were like, "Oh, this is great," and they cheapen the rate. So
Mhm.
you never know, but I think knowledge is power, and knowing is definitely a start. I offer free quotes, so you can reach out to me. I can give a quote, different terms and different face amounts, which would be the total amount that your policy would pay out if it's needed.
And Andrew, I would love to have you come back to talk about wills and trusts. We haven't even got a chance to scratch the surface.
We haven't, and that's a very important piece of it. I'm actually going through probate now, still with my dad, so I'm learning
Yes.
firsthand through the experience as well as, the research and knowledge that I've learned throughout just being in this industry.
Yes, and for those not familiar with probate, that's when you don't have a will, the process that you have to go through, which they make it so difficult. I had to go through probate with my sister during COVID. That took like 3 years.
Yes.
Then, we went through probate for my with my dad, and again, that mindset of, "Well, everything's in both my parents' name." Well, my parents had children. So
Yeah.
there's things that go with that, that even we're like, "We don't own the house." Well, technically, there's all these little check boxes and things that if you wait until you're grieving, like you said, it just cloudies it a lot, and if you can work on even a piece of it, just to have a little something set aside. So, Andrew, we're already to the end of the show. I would love for you to share how we can reach out to you to get these services, and what message do you wanna leave people with?
Sure. So you can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm working on creating a an actual business page. So I'm working on that. That is to come. But until then, Andrea Jones is my. I'm sorry, Andrea McDaniel is my name. That's my maiden name before I got married and divorced. But that's a different.
That's a whole
Um,
nother story too, friend. I almost forgot that there was McDaniel. That's why I was like, "Oh, yes, yes, yes."
there's only like 4 segments. Andrea McDaniel is my name on Facebook. Andie Mott, ANDIEMOTT is my IG name. You can feel free to reach out to me there. My phone number, 770-710-3701. Again, that is 770-710-3701. Feel free to text me. Again, I give free quotes. Call me. We can just, if it's just to have a conversation, if you're just wanting to be nosy
Yes.
and know, your sister's cousin's brother, that sort of thing, we can talk through that, and definitely make sure that we can get something in place or at least get you the knowledge that you need to know how to move forward.
And I'm that girl that I also tell people, you don't gotta be married to get life insurance on people. It don't
You know,
gotta be your mama and daddy. If you
you
invest
know,
in somebody, I tell some of my friends, "You been with this dude how many years? You better get some life insurance on him."
exactly. All you need is an insurable interest. And what that means is if you have a child together, that's an insurable interest. If you pay bills together, that's an
Mhm.
insurable
A
interest.
house, a business.
Yes, yes. So, again, we can definitely talk about that. Also, I'm in probate right now, and we had a will. So, having a will does not necessarily keep you or prevent you from having to go through probate. So that's why
So
having a
glad that
trust.
you said that.
Yes, having a trust.
Because I used to think that, and then people were like, "Well, if your name's on everything or if it's in a trust, then that's different." And I was like, "I thought you just get a will." I'm so glad that you said that. So you already know you coming back, and we gotta
Yes,
talk about
I
will
am.
and trust. But thank you so much for this powerful conversation because it is topics that we avoid.
Yeah,
And like you said, it's never too late. It's no judgment at all. You don't got to start off with $1 million policy, but I'm just glad that you meet people where they are and you're just helping them with confidence. And I think that is the biggest struggle. So thank you so much for making time out of your busy day.
thank
And I just
you.
want to thank you for all the great work that you're doing. I want to thank the V team. Just remind everybody, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. And until next time, stay balanced and financially savvy.